Hello and welcome to my 13-week pregnancy update video. So this week I finally chose a midwife and I had my first appointment, and at that appointment I learned a few things that I'd love to share. For example, did you know that during pregnancy your blood type can change? Your literal blood type can change. How is that possible? I don't know. My mind was blown when I heard it. I still don't understand. I don't think anyone truly understands. But yeah, let's just get into all the details. So if you're new here, my name's Olivia. I have a 15-month-old baby boy already, and then I'm obviously 13 weeks pregnant with my second, and I like to do things a little bit more on the crunchy, natural side of things, and I'm just really excited to share this whole pregnancy with you guys. And so if you are interested in keeping up with it, seeing my birth video hopefully in the future, then hit the subscribe button, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. So I ended up interviewing 3 midwives before I made my final decision. I was very relaxed on when I was going to find a midwife. I actually feel like I found one sooner and I went to an appointment sooner than I thought I was going to. So the kind of deciding factor, whenever I first interviewed the first person, I really felt good about her, and I honestly thought that I was going to choose her. And I really loved her answers to the questions I asked, and I just loved her story. But I knew that I needed to interview more people because this is really important to me. And so I interviewed someone else, and I just didn't feel like it was a good fit. And so then I told my husband, hey, I think I'm going to go with the first person. What do you think? And he's like, well, I think you have to. Like, you owe it to yourself to interview at least 3 people because this is a big decision and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I know you're right, but that means that I had to go out and find someone. And I just didn't want to interview just like any random person. I didn't want to waste someone's time. And so I definitely did my research. I found their website, I found their Instagram, tried to see what they're all about, saw their pricing, all the things that they include in their packages and things that they require. And so if they had stuff that didn't align with my beliefs or things that I wanted, then I obviously didn't call them. And so I struggled to find a third person to call. Finally found one, and I did not want to use her because I had already found someone that I liked and I was fine with it. I kind of felt at peace with it. And then of course I just really loved the third person that I talked to. And so I ended up going with her, and I'm really happy about it. And the only downfall is it's an hour away, which is not ideal, but I don't care because I feel like the right person. I don't care if she's an hour away or whatever. I'd rather drive an hour than drive 15 minutes for someone that doesn't make me feel comfortable, that I don't align with, things like that. So I just want to share a couple reasons why I specifically chose her. I just think it's interesting, and so hopefully you will too. So first thing, in the state of Texas, which I'm sure this is a law in other places, but in the state of Texas, you are not allowed to go past 42 weeks. So if you have a provider like an OB or a midwife that is licensed with the state, then they cannot let you go past 42 weeks. You're not allowed to, apparently. They'll get in trouble. So basically, once it gets to 42 weeks, you're looking at induction or different methods of induction. And I just don't even want to deal with that. And there are a little bit of higher risks for your baby whenever you get to 42 weeks. I know those risks. I've read the studies, and I personally just believe that my baby's going to come when my baby's going to come. And whether that is at 40 weeks or 42, I don't care. So as long as I'm healthy, my baby's healthy, I'm going to keep going. And so that was an important thing for me. And my midwife that I chose actually showed me that there are ways around this. You can actually go to an OB and get checked, and if you're all good, then they can let you continue past 42 weeks. So there is a little bit of a way around it. It's not just a you're done type of situation, even though that is a law. And so I just thought it was really cool that she knew that, and she knew the loophole, because that's something that's important to me. Another thing that I thought was really cool is every time I mentioned something that I personally am interested in or reading or listening to, then she just knew exactly what I was talking about. For instance, she talked about meconium from my last birth, and I mentioned that I loved the Birthing Instinct podcast on meconium, and she was like, oh yeah, I love them, Dr. Stu, Midwife, like she knew it, and that's something that I just felt like a connection with. And then also I have been reading the book Gentle Birth, Gentle Mothering, and it's by Sarah Buckley, which I just mentioned. Have you ever read Gentle Birth, Gentle Mothering? And she was like, yeah, I love Sarah Buckley. And I was like, yes, she gets it. If you've ever read the book, you should read it because it's awesome. And I think that at some point in these pregnancy videos, I'm going to go over all the birthing books that I've read, kind of give my recommendations and why I liked and didn't like certain books. So I'll have that in a later week for you guys in case you're interested. Another thing that I really didn't find important, but I felt like a tie to this midwife with, is religious beliefs. So I had no intention of like asking anyone what they believed in or anything like that. I don't care whoever my provider is. I don't care what they believe in, if they are a believer in Jesus or not. I just want them to align with me on the birth things, and I have the connection with God, and so I didn't feel like that was important to me. Plus, if you have like an awesome birth that like shows God in a beautiful light, I think that could be a testimony to the people around you. So that's why I just didn't find that piece of it important when finding a provider. But she is definitely a Christian. She definitely believes in Jesus. And I just thought it was really cool that we could align on that, because I felt comfortable to like tell her certain scriptures that I'm thinking about and like reasons why I'm doing things, hopefully in a different way because of my beliefs. And so I just feel like she understood and she knew what I was talking about. And so I thought that was a really cool piece also. And just overarching, I just think that it's really cool that she believes that, an undisturbed birth is the best kind of birth, if that's possible. Like, even if things arise, it just seems like she's so trusting of birth, which I am as well. And so I really wanted someone like that. Plus, her energy is just so calm and peaceful. Like, I do not like anger and like freaking out and like the confrontation. Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. I just like to be like chill and at peace. For example, last night I was over at my parents' house. Grandparents were there. Her grandma was there. And my son had a glass bowl on the floor. I had him sit down. I knew it was glass. I was watching him. And he had his berries in there, and of course he like dumps them all out because he likes to dump them out and then like put them back in, and he'll still eat them. He's not really making a mess. It's just blueberries. Who cares? And he does all the time, so I don't care. But as soon as he like dumped it out, everyone was like, no, don't do that. And it like freaked him out because I'm normally pretty chill. Like, I don't freak out and yell at him. Like, it would take a lot for me to yell. He's just a little kid. Like, he's only 15 months, so like I don't freak out like that. And I hope I never do. I'm sure at some point you get to that point. I don't know, but I hope not. And I just like a household of peace. And anyways, my son just like freaked out immediately, like got up and like scurried. My mom was right there, so he like scurried to her, and he was like really tense and scared. Anyways, I don't like that energy. And so I don't have that energy in my house and around my child. And so I just don't want that energy in my birth. So any like aggressive behavior or like not like peace and calm situation, like I don't really want in my household. And so I just love like her energy and her calm presence. So those are just a couple reasons why I chose my midwife. I hope that that's helpful and insightful. If you have any questions about any of this, any piece of like my journey in this, please let me know in the comments. So next, I just want to share some things that happened at the appointment. I really didn't know what was going to go on because it's like going from an OB appointment where you have like 15 minutes with the doctor, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10, whatever. I just didn't understand how my appointment was going to be an hour to an hour and a half long. And so a couple things that happened, I had to sign some forms, which I read all the forms, which like a year ago, no, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would not read forms. I would just sign it, which is a horrible idea. Don't do that. But that's what I would do. I just thought like, I have to sign it. So why am I even reading this? And I felt pressure and blah, blah, blah. But this, I did not feel pressure at all, and I knew that what I was signing was important, and so I just like felt the time to sit there and read all the things. I was able to bring my son, which was really awesome. They had like toys and it just felt super homey. And the forms were pretty simple, pretty basic. They just explained, the midwife's background, acknowledging her education, how many births she's been to, things like that. And then her backup midwife, there was another form for her, just explaining her education and background, so you are aware. And then kind of some liability things, which I was already very familiar with. And so those were not any shock to me. And just, explaining if you're having a home birth, here's what can happen. Here's what's brought to your house, things like that. And so those are definitely important things to read and to know about. So that is one of the pieces of your first midwife appointment. So that was probably the most time-consuming point of the appointment. And then we also kind of talked about nutrition, which I thought was interesting because I remember last time, the only nutrition piece that was talked about was just don't do X, Y, and Z. Don't eat deli meat, don't eat sushi, don't eat soft cheeses, don't eat runny eggs. Like all these things were thrown at you. But never was it talked about like, hey, what are you able to eat? Are you getting enough protein? Are you able to eat dairy and whatever, like eggs, cheese? Like, are you able to eat these things? How are you feeling? It was more like that, which I thought was really like positive and really cool, that it was more a positive topic versus don't do X, Y, and Z. The next thing we did was check on the baby, which I thought was very confusing because I am not doing any Doppler or ultrasounds as of right now. I may change my mind, I'm not sure, but as of right now, I'm not. And so I was like, what are we checking? And I did not realize that you can use a fetoscope this early, which I just ordered one on Amazon. I just got it, so I'm very excited to try to see if I can hear the heartbeat at home. But I surprisingly also got to hear the heartbeat at the appointment, which I definitely was not expecting at all. And that was very exciting. It definitely made things a little bit more real, although things are real because my belly is growing. My belly, as my mom said last night, is huge. So that also happened. And then also she took my blood, which I did not want to do. I hate needles. I hate taking my blood. But I asked, what are we testing? What's going on? And basically, this is when I found out that your blood type can change, which is crazy. So they check your blood right now at the beginning, and then they check it at, I think, 32 weeks, something like that, to just test your blood type, check your iron levels and things like that. Plus, she asked me if I wanted to test anything else, which I thought was cool that I had the option, but I couldn't think of anything that I wanted to check. I feel totally fine. I just think that it's wild that your blood type can change. Apparently, it's a phenomenon that nobody really understands, and it can happen during pregnancy and a few other instances. And I personally, after coming home, realized that I'm not having any blood products brought to my house. And so I don't really understand the reasoning for checking it again, whether my blood type is that super rare, if I'm that super rare person who the blood type changes, like I don't see how that affects anything. So I'm definitely going to ask about that next time because I don't feel like I need to get my blood drawn again. I also don't really feel like I need to check the iron levels or anything like that because I really do just like trust my body and believe that if something is up, I feel like I'm going to feel it. I'm going to bruise more easily. I don't know. I just don't feel like it's really necessary unless I feel like something's off or something's wrong. Like I would love to get my blood drawn and see what's going on. But if I feel healthy and fine, like I don't feel the need to do that. So I probably will decline that in the future. But just know that that is always an option. Everything we do with our provider, no matter who they are, everything is your choice. It's your body and you get to decide what you want to do. The last thing we did was just measure to see where you're at, how it's growing, how your belly's growing. And I am measuring at 14 weeks when I'm 13 weeks, which it's not surprising to me. My belly was really big last time. I had a 9-7 baby. So I feel like I am probably going to have another healthy sized baby. Plus, my diastasis recti, I think it's kind of making my belly bigger. I don't know if that's playing a role, but maybe. I also wanted to mention some really good news for me is that I've noticed a little bit of a pickup in energy, which is so awesome. The last 2 days I've been able to go on a run, which I love running. Now, it's been slow and it's been short because I'm just getting back into it, but I'm so excited because I love just like going on a run in the morning. My son loves riding in the stroller, and we play music out loud and he's like dancing, and it's so fun. And so that is super exciting, and I just feel like I'm going into that second trimester and getting my energy back and just feeling way more like myself. So it's just so awesome. So that is really all that happened this week. I have a lot more in store next week, so make sure that you subscribe and follow along, and thank you for watching.